Continuing on, let us finish the Genesis chapter 19. So, of course, this is the story of Lot. We just had Sodom's reaction to the three holy men, and Lot was being told to collect up his family and leave. So, here we go, verse 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. So Lot was hesitant to leave. He didn't want to leave the rest of his family. He had daughters here. Daughters that were married that likely had children of their own. He probably had an extended family in the city of Sodom, and he didn't want to leave them. But the angels the next day said, time's up. And when Lot kind of tarried, said, wait a minute, give me a little more time. These angels grabbed him by the hand and carried him out of the city. Him, his wife, and his 2 daughters that were still living at home. Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, O not so, my lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast shewed unto me in saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold now, this city is near to flee to, and it is a little one. O let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar, which means little or little thing. And Zoar, if you will recall, is one of the 5 cities of the plain. So the other 4 are going to be destroyed. But the 5th, Zoar, being a small city and not, according to other, apocryphal sources, Zoar was not part of the wickedness of the other cities. So Lot says, I can't get, the mountains are too far away, it's too dangerous, let me go to Zoar instead. And the angels say, yeah, you go to Zoar, get there quickly, because we got to destroy things. We got to start raining the fire down, and we can't do that until you're in the city. So they go. Now, verse 23. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. So this wasn't just Sodom, and it wasn't just Gomorrah. It was also the other 2 cities of the plains, Admah, and I can't remember what the third one was called. But he also laid waste to the entire plain. He made it a wasteland, except the city of Zoar. Verse 26, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. So, fire and brimstone sounds like a meteor shower to me, but you never know. Lot's wife, I don't think she was trying to return to the city out of greed or desire for the luxuries. I think she was trying to go back for her family. And it wasn't just that she looked back. It was that she tried to go back. She saw the fire and brimstone coming, and she wanted her daughters. But she had been warned not to go back, not to look back, not even to look back. And so she got caught in the destruction and got turned into a pillar of salt. But I do have sympathy for Lot's wife. Now, just step back. Verse 24 says, brimstone, footnote, alternate Hebrew translation, combustible materials, especially sulfur and pitch. So I don't know if it was a meteor shower or whatnot, but it was a rain of fire. So, and it was devastating enough that Abraham, up in the mountains, saw the smoke rising up, saw the destruction. He went out and looked at it. So, verse 29, And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. This is kind of why I think that Abraham, in his exchange with God, was more talking about Lot than anything else. So, verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. So after the destruction, he does go to the mountains, because he's afraid to live in any of the... Zoar wasn't necessarily a righteous city, it just wasn't as wicked as Sodom and Gomorrah. It didn't take part in that level of depravity. But he didn't want to be among the worldly. He separated himself out, saying, look, I tried living with the worldly, and it didn't work out, so we're going to avoid that now. Anyways, verse 31. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and he will lie with us, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father... Yeah, we're going to pause there a minute. Back in verse 31. Says, Joseph Smith translation says, And the firstborn said unto the younger, says, and the firstborn dealt wickedly, and said unto the other. So what they did, this was not a righteous act. Even though they do, 2 nations do come of it, this is not a righteous act. This was a very wicked thing. So, anyways, verse 33. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, and we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And again, another Joseph Smith translation on this verse. And they did wickedly, and made their fathers drink wine. So again, reinforcing that this was not a good thing. This was wickedness. Verse 36. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger she also bare a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. So that is the story there. That ending is just kind of the origin of the Moabites and Ammonites, who would later become very antagonistic towards the Israelites, as we will see later. But the daughters of Lot were not acting in good faith. This was not a good thing. God made good come of it, because he always does. When righteous men are involved, even if there is wickedness, God will make good things come. But it was not a good thing for the daughters to do this. But we're going to leave that here. I think the rest of that chapter is pretty much self-explanatory. We understand what's going on. 4 cities were destroyed, along with all the land around it. Lot got out of there with his 2 daughters, first going to the city of Zoar, but then separating himself out to avoid the wickedness of the world. Yet he still did not avoid it, because his daughters, probably being influenced by Sodom to a large extent since they were living there for so long, engaged in their wickedness. But by that, God established 2 great nations descended from Lot. So we will leave that here.